Visit us on onestepenglish.com. Listening. Directions in listening section, you will hear monologues, dialogues, and academic talks.
Floating soap. Most soap bars sink when you put them in water. But one kind of soap floats. About 100 years ago, this soap was no different from other soaps. And sank too. How did this soap become different from other soaps? One day a worker in the soap factory went for lunch. He forgot to turn off his machine. While he was gone, the machine kept working. It didn't just mix the soap. It beat air into the soap. One man in the soap factory decided to see what this new soap would be like. He found that the soap floated in the water. The owner of the factory thought that people might like a soap bar that floated. It would be easy to find in the tub if you let go of it. That is how this soap came to be different from other soaps.
Number 1. How did the soap in the story become different from other soaps?
Letter A. The soap has different fragrance strengths and types.
Letter B. The soap will sink if you let it go to the water.
Letter C. The soap can last for 3 months.
The correct answer is, letter B. The soap is different from other soaps because it will sink if you let it go to the water.
Number 2. How did they make a floating soap?
Letter A. A worker in the soap factory went for lunch and he forgot to turn off his machine.
Letter B. Soap factory workers experimented for a new kind of soap to sell in the market.
Letter C. The owner of the soap factory asked the workers to gather information on how to make floating soap.
The correct answer is, letter A. They made a floating soap when worker in the soap factory went for lunch and he forgot to turn off his machine.
Number 3. What is the advantage of the floating soap from other soaps?
Letter A. Easy to find in the water.
Letter B. Cheaper than the usual soap.
Letter C. Bigger than the first batch of soap.
The correct answer is, letter A. The advantage of the floating soap from other soaps is it's easy to find in the water. Reading section.
In this section, you'll be required to read 2 passages on varying topics. After each passage, you will answer questions to test your ability to understand vocabulary, writer's point of view, factual information and sentence structures.
Reading number 1. An excerpt from Employee Emotional Labor Has Worsened in the COVID-19 Era by Sharman Tungus PhD. Source, www.psychologytoday.com.
Number 1. What is the effect of COVID-19 virus to the workers or employees?
Letter A. Workers or employees enjoyed working from home.
Letter B. Workers or employees lost their sideline.
Letter C. Workers or employees found that the threat of the virus instilled feelings of helplessness and anxiety.
The correct answer is letter C. Workers or employees found that the threat of the virus instilled feelings of helplessness and anxiety.
Number 2. Why did researchers say that COVID anxiety compromised job performance?
Letter A. Employees experienced and suppressed negative emotions that thwarted psychological goals.
Letter B. Employees learned that it will take time before the situation would be back to normal.
Letter C. Employees were losing interest in working from home.
The correct answer is letter A. Researchers said that COVID anxiety compromised job performance because employees experienced and suppressed negative emotions that thwarted psychological goals.
Number 3. What did the researchers say about the employees' feelings?
Letter A. Employees should learn to accept the changes caused by the virus.
Letter B. Employees should learn not to focus on other things but focus on how to not to lose their control.
Letter C. Employees should learn to focus on making their customers satisfied.
The correct answer is letter B. Employees should learn not to focus on other things but focus on how to not to lose their control.
Reading number 2. An excerpt from How Teachers Are Inspiring Students to Read During the Pandemic. Source: www.k12dive.com.
Number 1. How do teachers emphasize reading fluency and speech?
Letter A. By reading books silently to students.
Letter B. By having students read books aloud to their pets or create videos of themselves reading aloud with funny voices and expressive movements.
Letter C. By making PowerPoint presentation instead of using actual books.
The correct answer is letter B. Teachers are emphasizing reading fluency and speech by having students read books aloud to their pets, or create videos of themselves reading aloud with funny voices and expressive movements.
Number 2. Why did Jeeban say that parents who are observing their children's online lessons are also absorbing reading strategies teachers are using virtually?
Letter A. Because they are listening to the teacher while discussing.
Letter B. Because modeling can help parents reinforce those approaches at home.
Letter C. Because it became a hobby of parents to listen while their children are having their class.
The correct answer is letter B. Jeeban said that parents who are observing their children's online lessons are also absorbing reading strategies teachers are using virtually because modeling can help parents reinforce those approaches at home.
You've reached the mid part of the video. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe.
Burden. Noun, something that is overload or heavy to carry.
Example. The burden fell on the eldest child.
Cliché. Noun, a phrase or expression that is overused.
Example. The story I read was stuffed with cliché.
Compromise. Verb, to settle or agree with something mutually.
Example. Lena refused to compromise her principles.
Exhausted. Adjective, extremely tired or drained.
Example. The field trip exhausted the children.
Instill. Verb, to establish or impart gradually.
Example. Instill the love of learning and reading in each student.
Let's have a quick test on vocab section.
Number 1. The teachers wanted to inspire and blank knowledge to the students. Verb, to establish or impart gradually.
Letter A. Burden. Letter B. Cliché. Letter C. Compromise. Letter D. Exhausted. Letter E. Instill.
The correct answer is, letter E. The teachers wanted to inspire and instill knowledge to the students.
Number 2. Andy doesn't want to blank with their disagreement. Verb, to settle or agree with something mutually.
Letter A. Burden. Letter B. Cliché. Letter C. Compromise. Letter D. Exhausted. Letter E. Instill.
The correct answer is, letter C. Andy doesn't want to compromise with their disagreement.
Number 3. I don't want my friends to feel the blank of my own problems. Noun, something that is overload or heavy to carry.
Letter A. Burden. Letter B. Cliché. Letter C. Compromise. Letter D. Exhausted. Letter E. Instill.
The correct answer is, letter A. I don't want my friends to feel the burden of my own problems.
Number 4. It sounds blank but I am telling the truth. Noun, a phrase or expression that is overused.
Letter A. Burden. Letter B. Cliché. Letter C. Compromise. Letter D. Exhausted. Letter E. Instill.
The correct answer is, letter B. It sounds cliché but I'm telling the truth.
Number 5. It was only morning but Daniela was already blank mentally. Adjective, extremely tired or drained.
Letter A. Burden. Letter B. Cliché. Letter C. Compromise. Letter D. Exhausted. Letter E. Instill.
The correct answer is, letter D. It was only morning but Daniela was already exhausted mentally.
Speaking section. The COVID-19 virus has been circulating around the world for a year now and it has killed many lives already. React on this matter.
It's been a year since the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus and still, we are fighting against it. The virus made people suffer by losing their jobs and families through lockdown. This issue needs our serious cooperation. Let's help the government ease the pandemic by simple acts of cooperation and kindness. Cooperating with the government such as not going out when it's not needed, following health precautions and by social distancing. Through these things, we have been able to minimize the spread of the virus. Moreover, while we are cooperating with the government, we might as well try to do things to stay healthy and have positive vibe. Exercise, eat healthy food, drink vitamins and try to watch videos and YouTube to lessen stress and anxiety about our current situation.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Visit us on onestepenglish.com.